Welcome back to another Tuesday Talk. And today we're going to talk about the land of opportunity and really think about it. It really is a vast land of opportunity. You are sitting on your own plane of opportunity, and there's all these different buildings and hills around you, and you are Where's Waldo. That's my visual. Remember Where's Waldo with the weird glasses, the red and white striped shirt, and the hat? And he used to just have huge books, and it would be different pages of where you'd have to find him. Well, that's just it. There's a whole bunch of opportunity around you, and you have to find where you can strike and what's great for you. And there's some certain steps that I've been trying to figure out for me, and a step that I get hung up the most when figuring out opportunity for myself and what should I do in the process. So I really wanted to talk to you about that today and see what you all think as well. So Ann Landers said, opportunities are usually described as hard work. So many people don't recognize them. And that's the reason why. We don't recognize our opportunity because you have to put in work behind it. And the work that I'm talking about is really by making a plan and being organized. So I understand when I talk to people or when I'm thinking about things, not everyone's an entrepreneur. Not everyone wants to strike out on their own. Not everyone wants to reinvent the wheel. Not everyone wants to be in front of 1 million people, or not everyone wants to talk to everybody. But guess what? There's opportunities for you to be better within your life, with your family, within your job, with your day-to-day interactions with people. So the way that you do that, and the best way to start this process, is by being planned and organized. Creating the plan and being organized. So how do you become organized? Well, we've talked about that previously. You just have to sit up there and do what's best for you by getting a vision board. The vision board organizes your thoughts and what you plan on doing with your family, with yourself, or with your friends. Even if you're trying to have the opportunity to have a better network or a better village and build your village. It's about being organized and making a plan for it. I have literally made a plan for it and sought after it, and now I have a mentor. And now I talk to someone who's older than me, and I work with him, but I've established that line of communication and said, hey, I want you to put value into my life and what I'm doing. Please help me do this in a better way. And he said, sure, no problem. And he's a motivational speaker, and he works with people and talks to people, and people pay him to do this. But guess what? He said, I just want to sit and talk with you, and I'm not worried about the charge. So you can do that if you put a plan in place for yourself. It doesn't mean that I do anything with it. It just means that I'm planning and looking ahead and doing with purpose and intent. And a lot of times we don't look at that when we're thinking about opportunity for ourselves. We're thinking it must go somewhere. Self-growth is just that. However you decide to grow. Whether it's growing as a parent, growing as a brother, growing as a son, it's still you growing. And I think once we reach a certain age, we forget that we're still growing. It may not be physically, but it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We still need to grow, and we need that room to grow. And if you're not giving yourself room to grow, then guess what? You're not seizing your opportunities that come in every day. And you're not paying attention to them, and they go unnoticed. A next step is be a risk taker. Don't worry about other people. When you're a kid, you don't care what anybody else thinks. You're going to try something. You're going to figure it out. You're not really worried about being embarrassed or what someone may say about you or how they may feel about what you're trying to do. We put power into people instead of putting power back into ourselves. And that's what I challenge you to do today, is seize the opportunity to stop putting power into other people, but put it back into yourself. And then you can get a different outcome, because that's what we're looking for. And all of this that I'm doing and all this that I'm talking about, I want an outcome for myself. I'm not worried about other people and their reaction. I'm worried about my reaction and my growth. And does something happen because of that? So that's what I'm asking you. Are you doing something for yourself so that way you can see your growth within it? If not, you're not seizing that opportunity. Henry Ford said, failure is the opportunity to begin again. And guess what? That's part of taking the risk. Failure is that opportunity to start over. Are you thinking about starting over? When you make a mistake, don't think about the mistake. That's where people talk about, think about the learned lesson from it. You gotta be able to make a mistake. And I'm willing to do that. Are you willing to do that? Ask yourself that question. Am I willing to make this mistake? A lot of times we follow people not because they're perfect, but because they're willing to take a chance that we wouldn't be willing to take. You watch people and they're intriguing to you because they do risks that you're not willing to take. But they are, and that's why you pay attention to them. And then you have to think of the next step, which is, are you fueling your passion? That's learning, educating, practicing, teaching. All that fuels your passion because it keeps it in you. And fueling the passion is learning the passion. Again, that Where's Waldo moment. What is my passion? What do I like? What do I enjoy? I realize for me, I love people interaction. I love interacting with different types of people. I'm not scared to interact with different types of people. And then I like learning from them. That's my new one that I've really paid attention to, is the learning behind it. The reason why I like talking to people is because I really evaluate and see how what they're talking about, how it can play a significant role in my life. And that's the other part that we don't really pay attention to is, hey, how can this play a role or do something for me in my life currently? And that's what we go to school for. You go to school not to do more education. You go to school to learn more about yourself. And I realized I was late to that party. And I was talking to a friend from college. I went to East Carolina, University of North Carolina, the purple and gold, the true purple and gold. And I realized when I was talking to my friend who I went to school with that I was late to the party on using college to learn more about me. Instead, I was thinking it was me acquiring the paper, the document that said I finished this. That's what everyone talked about. My family members and everyone who I talked about who was older, who really didn't finish college, they said, you gotta get that piece of paper. Because if you get that piece of paper, it's the same thing or the equivalent of nowadays a high school diploma. High school diploma don't mean nothing. So you need that piece of paper. Well, guess what? Now, with me having my bachelor's degree, guess what people say? Bachelor's degree ain't nothing. You need the master's degree. You really missed the ball because you really should have been getting your master's. So the main thing that I realized I missed in going to college wasn't the piece of paper, because people are constantly going to be chasing more. They're already saying now that a PhD, right, is what you need to be a specific field and a specific person. But guess what? A PhD is really someone who knows their passion, is aware of their passion, and works in their passion or in their field. And that's what I'm asking you today. Are you aware of yours? And you don't need to go get a piece of paper to figure it out. If your passion is parenting and motherhood or fatherhood, then learn all about it. Immerse yourself in it. Spend that time with your children and your family and do it to the best of your ability. If your field is sports, then learn all that you can about it. Fuel it. Utilize it so you can grow from it. And then teach others about it as well. It doesn't mean that you have to be a coach. Just teach others through sports. But you have to learn for yourself what intrigues you and what pushes you. And that's how you do that in the land of opportunity. The next thing is, how do you grow from it? Is you learn your weaknesses. That's why Henry Ford said what he did. Make the mistake and be willing to make the mistake, because it gives you the opportunity to grow. You don't grow when everything is going good and hunky-dory. Us as a society doesn't take this pivotal turn into a new day and age because everything's hunky-dory or everything's going fine or everything's great. It's because we're going through a pandemic. It's because we're going through change. It's because we're going through shock. So when you shock your body, when you change your surroundings, you become comfortable with understanding how you react to things in a time of risk, in a time of much effort needed. And that's when I say learn your weaknesses. Because when you learn from your weaknesses, then guess what? You can learn how you can grow and you can change your opportunity. Richard Branson said, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes. And then figure out how to do it later. So, no, you don't want to be the entrepreneur, right? I just want to go to this 9 to 5, but I want to move up. And a lot of times we're like, I shouldn't apply for that next position because I don't even know what the next position entails. I don't even know what I'll be doing. Why am I going to do it? Or I'm in one part of the organization, I want to go to a different part, but I don't know what they really do over there. I'm not aware. So I don't know if I should even apply. And then we don't apply, and then we forever wonder if that could have been you. Well, I'm here to tell you, it can be you. You need to say yes. Richard Branson is over Virgin Mobile and Virgin Media and Virgin Galactic Holdings, which is for space. Those are crazy different entities in itself. He didn't know all that right away. He learned over time that he liked different things. And guess what he did? He just said yes. And that's what I'm challenging you to do with your opportunities, in your land of opportunities, with your buildings around you. What can you say yes to today? Because there's something that you can say yes to today, which leads us into, guess what? Take the action. You can't learn from your mistakes. You can't take risks. You can't plan and be organized if you're not willing to take action. And if you're not willing to take the action, then there's no point in us trying to grow or even work in self-growth. Because self-growth is with the understanding that you're going to do trial and error, that you're going to take action and learn something different. And if you're not willing to learn something different, and you're not willing to put it into practice, then there's no point in doing it. You're wasting everyone's time around you, everyone in your village's time around you, because they could be putting that time into someone else who's willing to do those things. And again, we forget that. When we're as kids, we have teachers, parents, you have people in the block, people down the street, you have your neighborhood, you got a group or a clique that you're a part of, you got your coaches, you got musicians around you, you got TV shows, all that are into fueling you to develop you. And then all of a sudden we get a certain age and we're like, oh, I'm developed. I'm okay. I get myself. But no, you don't. If great people around you like Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates constantly have read and learned to enhance themselves and grow and go on different trips, not vacations, but trips to gain more knowledge, then guess what? We are behind the curve because we need to do the same thing. And that's what I'm asking you. Are you willing to take hold of your opportunity for yourself in your life, to enhance your life, to grow in life, so that way you can impact your village? And that's what I mean by seize the opportunity. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to follow me on True Visionary XIV, quite frankly on Instagram, and LRay84 on Snapchat. Appreciate your time. See you next Tuesday Talk.